That is a shoe that belongs to the fantastic Angus. This is part 2 of your interview. How you doing? You good?
Yeah, good.
Awesome. We trailed off in the last interview by insinuating that we're going to talk about the Dogbones. That's what we're going to do about that kind of thing now. You are one of 2 drummers in the Dogbones. What's going on? A band of 2 drummers? That's some fucked up shit. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it is great fun playing that stuff with Vince. He was my other half. You know, Vince is a great drummer. Underrated, he's very powerful, very fast.
Hey, it's cool. You've got to get the phone, it's all good.
No, she can go.
It's all
she can
spontaneous.
wait.
She's got to go.
Well,
right.
she can wait, you know.
Okay.
Vince was a great drummer. He's very underrated. He's very powerful, very fast, very quick.
Excellent.
He's been with Crispin a long time, since Days of Chainsaw days. I just played with him for a year, but it was a great year. We had great fun. We played our hearts out, I think is the main thing. We really went for it on stage. And that's what people want to, you know, that's what they remember, that's what they go out for, you know, let their hair down. For me, I think my main priority was to just completely let myself go. I wanted to learn the song technically so I know what I'm doing, but then forget about it and go to another level on stage.
Well, yeah, you were saying, like, Vince was like, you described him as the engine room, and you could basically float on top of that. Tell me more about the rhythms, you know, and what Crispin wanted, the guitar.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Crispin's point, I mean, he had success with Days of Chainsaw, and he was very brave to take it to a new angle with Dogbones. Sometimes it worked, sometimes they got him, sometimes it didn't, but it wasn't his fault. It was really the musicians didn't understand what he wanted. For me, it was quite clear because he was influenced by Latin American stuff. Doesn't sound very punk rock, but he felt it was very dancey. And you can't dispute that. Latin American music is dance rhythms. And he wanted to blend that with a punk rock guitar and punk rock delivery on the vocals. Yeah. I mean, he had a lot of stuff which was bossa novas and claves. You know, a lot of it was claves. You know, the ba 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 ba. You know, and he'd want that to play on the top of that, and the singing to go with that, the bass player to go with that, the drums to go with that. Everything went with that, and sometimes the drummers couldn't cope. They made it sound like a, you know, just a punk rock beat. Which kind of didn't really have that. Yeah, Crispin's a patient guy, you know, but if you try his patience too much, he'll let you know about it, you know. But I think it's a great idea, and I might even nick it myself, you know.
Hey, why not? You know, music's all about borrowing. There's no genre that is somehow copyrighted from other musicians, you know? I mean, you got to do what you want to do, and I think it's in the mixing of it that people find a certain happiness and freedom. So that was Dogbones. You also have, had another project, Goid. Is that still going?
Goid, unfortunately, Goid is a very difficult band. The music was very kind of complex. I think people thought it was more complicated than it was. Okay. I mean, we scared a lot of drummers off. It was difficult to get a drummer. The other players, they were friends of mine and they were good players, so they did it very well. To find the drummer was very difficult. I'm a drummer myself, so I wrote the drum parts. Yeah. Very precise, very particular. And we had a lot of time to changes, but for me, I just felt I didn't want people to notice a time change. I just wanted them to notice it's just a fucking good groove. Yeah. You know, but to get the guys to play it in rehearsal was a struggle. He was at the top end of his ability. What I wanted from a musician was somebody who's so good that if they play something fairly simple, they make it swing like fuck. Yeah. Whereas somebody who's at the top end of their ability, you know, they might just about play it, but it's not swinging. Yeah. And that's what I wanted from Goid. Asking a lot from kind of, you know, grunge players or whatever, you know, but we done a few shows and people liked it. I was always a bit unhappy with the, I mean, John, if you're listening, you know,
you can tell him, I'm sure he's a diplomatic fellow and he's going to take what you say.
Well, I mean, yeah,
objective criticism.
He is. I mean, he found success with a band called The Vibes and The Purple Things years ago. Right. And he's just, and Terminal Cheesecake. Okay. And and they've reformed, and I think he's a lot happier.
Are all those bands ones that you really like?
Well, I actually played with Terminal Cheesecake about 20 years ago.
A link underneath the screen.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they're big business now. They're playing a lot around Europe and stuff. And it's a lot more straight ahead stuff, and that's what he can cope with more naturally. Okay. I think I forced him to do rhythm because he always used to say, "Oh shit, I've never played this before. I've never had to play stuff like this before, you know.
Okay, I'm sure on some level, like, you know, some subconscious level, he liked being challenged, you know. Otherwise we wouldn't get into this business. This business is fucking crazy. If you were saying you'd go off and like work off for an accountancy or some shit, but you thought, no, fuck it, I'm gonna do some music.
He did,
even though it's a crazy industry, man. So
absolutely did. And I miss Goyd, you know. I mean, I miss writing for Goyd. Goyd for me was because I you know, for not wanting to sound like a musical snob, I've been massively influenced by what you might call modern classical music. They call it modern, but it's actually 100 years ago. It's kind of a genre from kind of late 1800s to 1910s, 1920s. Stravinsky, Igor Stravinsky, a Russian classical composer, Arnold Schoenberg, Austrian composer, Bela Bartok, you know, these guys were crazy with their rhythms, with their tonalities. I mean, a lot of bands, they play bar chords, they play, oh, what song, what key is this in? It's in C or G or whatever, but we avoided keys. We kind of, there's a word called atonality or 12-tone serialism, which I used to write a lot of stuff like that, and I found that it was really, the promoters never used to know how the fuck to put us with, you know, because you know, our sound was no key. There's no key center, but you can still make it logical. You know, and it can still be singable. I still believe today that you can have a pop song which is no key center.
Okay.
One of my friends, his girlfriend, she's no musician. She's a teacher, teaches textiles, and she used to sing the chorus for one of my songs, Cankertown, 12-tone serialism, and she used to sing it back to me. I'm convinced, you know, I mean, people watch horror films, a lot of that shit is composed by serial music. And,
dude.
you know, it's in people's subconscious already because of horror films, and I reckon if you stuck it into a band context, people would subconsciously recognise it and go for it.
I've got to thank you again, because I'm a closet classical music kind of fan.
Oh, yeah?
Do you like Holst? I don't know what
Holst, Gustav Holst?
Yeah, with the planets.
Yeah, the planets, Mars in particular, with the 5/4 rhythm, you know.
He gave birth to John Williams, man. Without Holst, you wouldn't have Star Wars. Let's face it, the music is a fucking character. So I've got to thank you again. Thank you for bringing classical music to Clark Kent's Rock and Roll Review.
You're welcome.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to end this part, and then we're going to talk about your current, well, you got a music band that's based in Norwich, I do believe.
It is, yeah.
And you've just got a contract, so things are really happening. We're going to talk about that in part 3. You ready?
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to go back to your cool shit.